In the news this week, the UK Supreme Court will hear arguments on the Ashes Bakery case. British Museum officials are to teach LGBT sex education to kids. And a shocking new report reveals a widespread failure to uphold the age of consent. Hello. The Ashes Baking Company case will go before judges at the highest court in the United Kingdom. The UK Supreme Court has listed a hearing to consider a possible appeal by the bakers over their refusal to bake a cake bearing the slogan "Support Gay Marriage." Daniel MacArthur, General Manager of Ashes, welcomed the decision. The fact that the Supreme Court is willing to hear arguments is very encouraging and reflects the importance of the issues and the high-profile nature of the case. Simon Calvert, Deputy Director for Public Affairs at the Institute, explained that the family's decision to appeal is based on the vital importance of the arguments involved.
The principles at stake are so important and have such ramifications for not just for Christians but for all kinds of people that the family believed that it was important to pursue the appeal. I mean, they're very outward-looking and other-centred, even in their decision-making process about whether to pursue the appeal. And that matters to them, and that's part of their motive in this whole thing, and that's part of the reason why they are prepared to take on the challenge of appealing to the Supreme Court, and part of the reason why we have been so delighted to help them to do it.
To sign the petition supporting Ashes Baking Company, visit our website. The British Museum is to offer sex and relationship education to children using a series of sexually explicit exhibits. Officials at the museum will put on workshops for children as young as 11 on topics including pornography, homosexuality and transsexualism. Speaking to Radio 4, Laura Perrins, co-editor of The Conservative Woman, warned against pupils being sent to the lessons.
We should absolutely guard against schools doing this, especially against parental consent, because first of all, this really is the sexually obsessed radicals who want to expose other people's children to pornographic images and sex toys. Secondly, it falls completely in line with state-promoted, value-free, amoral sex education, which probably is contributing to making a lot of our teenagers pretty miserable. And thirdly, this really is the lowest common denominator in terms of culture.
President of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, Dr. Albert Mohler, also criticised the move, saying the museum is attempting to foist a particular worldview on children. Remarking on a description of the exhibition in the Times, Dr. Mohler added that it was so explicit he could not bring himself to describe it in his radio blog. Children are being put at risk of abuse because our culture treats underage sex as normal, according to a shocking report. The study by the Family Education Trust uncovered evidence of health and social workers across England failing to challenge underage sexual activity. In one instance, a 14-year-old girl was said to have told a crisis intervention team that she was pregnant and that the father was 21, but no action was taken. Dr. Trevor Stammers, a former GP and trustee of the Family Education Trust, said the current approach is failing.
Clearly, with rising numbers of sexually transmitted infections in under 16s and a high number, hundreds of peer-on-peer sexual assaults in schools, the current policies are not working. And agencies giving advice to young people, confidential advice, need to ensure that those they're giving advice to are not being abused. And the only way of doing that is by asking them and probing them about the situation for which they feel they need contraception. And if there are concerns that consent may not be freely given, or that there are issues related to possible abuse, they need to be reported to the relevant authorities, who need to take those seriously and not brush them aside.
Responding to the report, sexual health group Brooke described sex between teenagers as healthy behaviour. And finally, parents should choose nurseries and schools on criteria such as whether they feature same-sex family books, a homosexual campaign group has said. The Inclusion Matters guide also recommends parents walking past schools to listen out for any discriminatory language. Although the document does acknowledge other types of bullying, its overwhelming focus is on LGBT issues. For those considering nurseries and primaries, it says parents should ask whether books in the library include same-sex families. Chris McGovern, chairman of the Campaign for Real Education, said children should treat each other with respect, but that the LGBT guide is unhelpful. Requiring youngsters to see the world through a complicated adult lens of LGBT issues is, however, likely to confuse and trouble many younger children. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.